Hey everybody, you're listening to the Cranks Creek Life podcast, where we discuss random topics and share bits and shreds of information to help you not only live life, but savor it. Welcome to episode 6 of Cranks Creek Life. It's just me on the mic today, going solo in our Pennsylvania studio. But don't worry, Christy has not skipped town. She's knee-deep in vinyl and bleach as a result of some brilliant shirt projects. Folks, I'll be straight with you. Episode 5 was a beast. That one was packed with some truly life-changing content. If you missed it, I told the story of the funeral that introduced me to Boilo, that legendary hot toddy drink from the anthracite coal regions of Pennsylvania. This drink is basically the Holy Trinity. Think of NyQuil, therapy, and holy water all mixed together. So if you skipped that episode, bold move. Go make it right, then get back here, because we're about to get painfully real. If you got a phone, an inbox, or a mailbox, congratulations. You're officially on a scammer's radar. And trust me, they don't miss. You either been hit already, or you're next in line. These people do not sleep. They clock in every day of the year and work overtime, because their persistence pays. That's why your screen flickers with urgent texts, your phone won't stop blowing up, and your inbox is a landfill of desperate bait, all designed to make you bite. Add in the too good to be true social media ads you scroll through, along with the sketchy friend requests, and it all boils down to the same grab for your information, your money, and most of all, your trust. In this episode and a few to come, I'm pulling back the curtain on the traps and twisted tactics that scammers rely on. My mission? To help you spot the scam before it even knows you exist. Maybe sidestep a financial sinkhole that could suck your wallet dry or drain your bank account. Here's the reality. Scammers are not stopping. They're becoming more sophisticated, more cunning, and definitely more ruthless by the day. Fraud. Scam. These are two words people toss around like they're the same. Identical until you're the one holding the empty wallet. In the banking world, the difference really matters. And if you don't know the difference, you'll learn the hard way. So let's start by clearing that fog. Let's line them up side by side, look at who each one targets, the tricks they use, how their methods of deception differ, and why it all comes down to the authorization of the transactions. A little clarity here can go a long way in protecting you and the people you care about. So buckle up, because knowledge is the one weapon scammers never want you to have. I love this stuff, and I want you to understand their game so you can't be played. And trust me, scammers hate an informed target. Quick disclosure time, folks. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely my own and do not necessarily represent the views, policies, or positions of my employer or any organization I am affiliated with. All right, let's talk about their targets. Fraudsters and scammers both want your money, but the way they go after it couldn't be more different. They have different hunting grounds and different targets. Fraudsters hunt on the bank's grounds and target the bank and its systems. Scammers, on the other hand, they come straight for you. So you can think of fraudsters and scammers as cousins in the same crime family, but with different targets. And as we'll see shortly, much different weapons. Remember, fraudsters take it. Scammers trick you into handing it over. And you'll see that difference is going to matter a lot once we start talking about liability. Now, fraudsters and scammers both rely on deception, but the way they deceive is quite different. A fraudster hides in the shadows. They sneak into the bank system using stolen information to make it look like you authorized the transaction when you didn't. Their deception is about impersonation and disguise. They pretend to be you by using your information. A scammer impersonates someone else, kind of puts on a show. You're their target. They come right at you, spinning stories, creating urgency, or maybe even tugging at your emotions to convince you to hand over your money or information, and do so willingly. So while fraudsters deceive the bank by pretending to be you, scammers deceive you by pretending to be someone else and get you to help them do the dirty work. I'll use a couple of quick examples for comparison. Think of an unauthorized debit card purchase on your bank account. Say it's a $1,700 electronic purchase at a Best Buy in Miami that you knew nothing about. That's fraud. Now compare that to the phone call you receive from someone claiming to be from the IRS, demanding immediate payment of taxes owed, and you pay it. That's a scam. The fraudster deceived the bank, but the scammer deceived you. We can look at this another way. A fraudster deceives by slipping through loopholes and exploiting weaknesses. They break the bank system and its rules and controls. Scammers, they exploit people in the system. They don't need to break the system, they break people. Fraudsters sneak through the bank's door. Scammers sweet talk you into opening it. Remember, a big difference is that a scammer deceives you into helping them do the dirty work. Let's talk briefly about the laws that apply to frauds and scams. Fraud against a bank isn't just a small matter. It's considered an attack on the financial system itself, and that's why it falls under federal law. Depending on the scheme or dollar amount, you might see the FBI, Secret Service, U.S. Postal Inspectors, or U.S. Attorney's offices step in. However, certain crimes against banks like check fraud and forgery might also be investigated by local or state authorities, with prosecution efforts handled through district attorney offices. It's going to depend on the scope of the crime, amount of money involved, as well as the laws that were violated. A scam is different because it is a crime against the individual. The laws here are a lot broader, with a huge focus on consumer protection. Larger and more complex cases will involve federal authorities, especially where interstate wire transfers, mail, or the internet is involved, or if a lot of money is involved, or incidents are widespread and cut across multiple jurisdictions. But many are also handled locally by the district attorney offices or at the state level by the Office of Attorney General. Now, do not think you can totally rely on your local or state authorities to get back the money you paid to bail your grandson out of prison in Alabama, because you simply cannot. It is extremely difficult to identify suspects, let alone tracking them down and apprehending them. In fact, investigators often need to link multiple scams before they can detect a pattern or develop a lead. That's why it's so important to report any scam you're caught up in and to share every detail you can. It might be the missing piece that helps crack the case. Okay, so in terms of reporting scams, it's always good to first connect with your bank or credit card company. And please make sure you contact them at a known and trusted number. I do want to make you aware that if you have been involved in a scam and provided account access or already lost money, containment needs to be your priority. Secure your account by changing your password, blocking your card, however your bank instructs you. Now back to reporting. Your bank may suggest you file a local police report. Although there is typically little that local police can do to assist, the report is helpful in supporting your case that you were not involved and did not benefit from the fraud. This can be particularly helpful in trying to clean up your credit history as a result of loans taken out in your name. And if you have a business, that police report you filed will be critical should you seek reimbursement for loss through your insurance carrier. You may also report the scam to the Federal Trade Commission, and for those of you in Pennsylvania, report it to our Bureau of Consumer Protection, which is under our Office of Attorney General. Although they do not serve as a criminal prosecutor, they refer matters to the Attorney General for federal prosecution. The Bureau does a great job with a focus on investigating unfair and deceptive practices, shutting scams down, finding bad actors, as well as helping to get restitution. They also provide exceptional consumer resources. Now for one of the biggest differences, authorization. In a fraud, you don't authorize anything. You don't need to. The fraudster already has what is needed, your stolen information. They don't have to call or text to sweet talk you because they're using your information behind the scenes. I want to pause here and explain how fraudsters actually get their hands on your sensitive information, because the list is long and I think it's important that you understand. They scoop it up from data breaches and leaked databases, trick you through phishing emails or fake websites, slip malware onto phones and computers, or use card skimmers at ATMs and gas pumps. Some even steal mail, dig through dumpsters, or just piece together what you overshare on social media and public records. And don't forget the shady side of the data world, brokers and businesses selling your information without you realizing it. Fraudsters can even go after people around you, friends, family, or customer service reps, using social engineering to pry loose the details they need. Lastly, plain old physical theft, like a smash and grab for the wallet you left in your car, or someone swiping your purse, card, or checkbook right out of your grocery cart. A big tactic of an organized group known as the Felony Lane Gang is using makeup and disguises, wigs, glasses, whatever is needed to resemble your stolen identification. These folks will also steal license plates and are known for driving through the outer lane of a bank's drive-thru to cash counterfeit checks or make unauthorized cash withdrawals. And that is how they got their name. There has been some recent successful prosecution efforts, especially over the last 2 years, but it's a game of whack-a-mole. All that hacking and hustling I just described, well, it takes time. So some criminals just cut to the chase and buy your data. On the dark web, there are whole underground marketplaces, sites, forums, encrypted chat rooms where your identity is carved up and sold like meat in a back alley butcher shop. That's the truth, folks. And anonymous cryptocurrencies like Monero, Zcash, Ethereum, and others, well, they keep the money moving and make the trail much harder to follow. Here's a reality check. It's not a matter of if your information is out there for sale. It's just a matter of how much it's going for today. According to the Dark Web Price Index by Privacy Affairs, which tracks the black market value of stolen data, the numbers are chilling. Your Gmail login will sell for about $60. A hacked Facebook account? Pocket change, a mere $45. A driver's license? $150. A U.S. passport averages only $50. Cash App credentials? Those can fetch $800. Credit card details go anywhere from $10 to $240. Get this. Access to your bank or crypto account might sell for as little as $20 or can climb into the thousands. The fresher and fatter the account, the higher the price. This is crazy stuff, folks. On the dark web, you're not a person, you're a product, and the bidding never stops. Getting back to the subject of authorization, here's a takeaway for fraud. Understand that the theft of information, the transactions conducted in your account, occur without your knowledge and without your authorization. Out of the blue, you receive a telephone call from your credit card company that there was a purchase of 2 airline tickets to Peru. You knew nothing about it because the fraudster bought your card information in a chat room on the dark web. Or perhaps a fraudster accesses your account and sets up a transfer to an external bank account without your knowledge or permission. Or opens an account in your name with information sold from a data breach and cashes 3 counterfeit checks through your account. All of these transactions without your knowledge, all without your permission or authorization. Now let's talk scams. A scam is a type of fraud, but the twist is that you become part of the crime. Remember how I said fraudsters just take your money? Well, scammers make you hand it over. You authorize the transactions. They don't need to break in because you've opened the door for them. How do they do it? Through phishing emails, fake social media profiles, impersonation calls, and countless other tricks to make you give away sensitive details or approve payments yourself. Unlike fraudsters, who often hack businesses or buy stolen data without ever speaking to you, scammers aim straight for your head and your heart. They use psychology to bypass your logic, building trust, exploiting weaknesses, and leaning hard on fear, greed, or loneliness until you do exactly what they want. Now, scams take many forms. Might be someone on a dating site who pretends to be interested, only to hit you with a sob story. You're lonely, you want to believe, so you send a little financial help. Or maybe it's the email or text about unpaid tolls or overdue tickets, threatening big fees, a suspended license, even prosecution or jail time. Fear takes over, and you pay. Then there's the so-called work-from-home opportunity. Just deposit checks and forward the money through gift cards, and you get to keep a slice. Sounds like a lifeline when bills are piling up until the truth hits. Those checks are counterfeit, and you've just been pulled into a crime. One crazy situation that occurs way more than it should is when a scammer impersonates someone in authority, such as a bank rep, government agent, or law enforcement official, warning you your bank account has been compromised, it's hacked, it's not safe, and they claim to be investigating it. Their fix? Pull out the cash and hand it over to them for safekeeping. I wish I was kidding about this one. People have been conned out of tens of thousands of dollars this way. Let me be brutally clear. If anyone asks you to stuff your savings in a box, park it on your doorstep, or hand it over like you're running a back alley drop, that's not security. That's daylight robbery with a polite smile. Every single one of those scam transactions, you authorized them. Every one. And why is that so important? Well, that brings us to the next topic, which is liability. Here's the bottom line. You can lose money to both scams and other frauds, but the chances of getting reimbursed are much different. With fraud, you typically, emphasis on typically, get your money back. Why? Because those transactions happened without your knowledge or permission. You did not authorize them. Scams are a different story. When you hand over information or approve the payment itself, the bank sees it as you authorizing the activity, and that makes any consideration of reimbursement a lot tougher. Think about it this way. Handing over access to your account is like giving a stranger the keys to your house and then acting shocked when the furniture's gone. Nobody's buying that. Leave the vault wide open, I'm sure the bank will happily restock the gold like it's a Costco free sample counter. It's not rocket science, folks. In the bank's eyes, authorization equals participation. Banks cover fraud, not favors you do for criminals. Understand that when it comes to fraudulent, unauthorized transactions, the rules aren't one size fits all. Consumer accounts follow one set of laws, while business accounts are often treated very differently. For fraud related to digital or electronic transactions, consumer protections mainly come from the Electronic Funds Transfer Act, better known as Regulation E. Businesses, on the other hand, usually fall under the Uniform Commercial Code, along with whatever contracts they've signed with their bank. Now, banks obviously do not tolerate fraud. But how about scams? You might think, why would a bank care what I do with my own money? My mistake, my loss? Yeah, not so fast. A federally insured bank cannot afford to become a surpipe for scam money. Once those dollars leave your account, they don't vanish, they mutate. They get laundered into the bloodstream of organized crime, feeding drug cartels, human trafficking operations, cybercrime rings, and yes, even terrorist networks. And no bank wants its name tied to financing that kind of nightmare. That's why banks are legally bound to monitor all accounts, flag suspicious moves, and shut down scams before dirty money poisons the financial system. So don't get pissy with the bank teller, customer service rep, or fraud employee for trying to warn you about your involvement in a scam, because they are protecting you as well as the banking system. Okay, let's talk defense. The best defense against scams? A cocktail of healthy skepticism and good old-fashioned stubbornness. If that urgent text or call is begging for your money, your password, or your everlasting love, hit pause. Real companies don't threaten you with handcuffs. Nobody's paying bills and Amazon gift cards. And that soulmate overseas? Shocker here, folks, they're not coming. Scammers thrive on panic, so your best move is slamming on the brakes. I cannot emphasize this enough. Double check before you trust. Hit that pause button and ask yourself, do I really know who's behind this? Remember, scammers often impersonate the people or businesses you know and trust, and they are pros at this. They can whip up an email address that looks almost identical to one you trust, changing just a single character, like swapping out an O for a 0. They can even spoof the name on the email, so it shows up as your bank, your credit card company, or even a friend or family member. The same trick works on caller IDs too. The number may look familiar, but don't take it at face value. So take that pause and think about what you can do to verify the individual or business through a trusted source. Calling back at a known and trusted telephone number is always a great start. All right, folks, let's wrap this up with some rapid-fire advice. If you think your bank account has been compromised, don't wait. Call your bank immediately. Share the password, PIN, or login? Change it right away. Seconds matter. And make your password a complex one. Use a passphrase. Maybe it's, everyone should listen to Cranks Creek Life podcasts. That would be capital E, lowercase s, lowercase l, the number 2 for the word TO, and so on. A full example is in the show notes. A passphrase will be very familiar to you, but not to the fraudsters. Prevention starts with the basics. Keep your devices updated. Updates aren't just for bells and whistles, they patch holes that fraudsters love to crawl through. And whenever you can, turn on multi-factor authentication. That simply means mixing 2 or more security checks. Something you know, like a password or PIN, something you have, like a one-time code on your phone or an authenticator app, and something you are, your fingerprint, face, or voice. The beauty of this method? A stolen password alone won't cut it. The crooks would also need your phone or your fingerprint. Layers of defense, that's raising the bar. Put a freeze on your credit. Being scammed is bad enough. You don't also want fake credit accounts open in your name. This involves contacting the 3 major credit bureaus and placing a freeze. The bureaus will notify you of all attempts to access your credit file, fraudulent and illegitimate. You can submit such a request online, by phone, or email. I've included links in the notes. What else I got? How about making your bank's mobile tools work for you? Check your balances often, lock your debit card when you're not using it, and set up text or email alerts for purchases or balance changes. And then, actually pay attention to those alerts. Lastly, on prevention advice, education is power. Great resources include the Federal Trade Commission and the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, better known as IC3. Quick heads up though, scammers also impersonate these agencies. They'll claim they recovered your funds and then try to squeeze more money out of you. So yes, they even scam by pretending to stop scams. All right, folks, let's wrap this up with the biggest takeaway of the day: the line between a fraud and a scam. If someone sneaks into your bank account and drains it without your say-so, that's fraud. You didn't authorize it, and consumer protections are likely to have your back. But if you willingly hand over your info, click send, or walk the money out yourself, that's a scam. And in that case, the refund fairy is not showing up. Fraud takes, scams convince. That's all for this episode. Check out the show notes for some useful links on additional resources, and stay tuned for some other episodes on scams. We've got plenty more tricks to expose. Stay sharp out there.